everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Diatribes with the voice of Boone. Gonna have to hurry this one up here. You know how they say it's been a pleasure? Well, I'm sure it has been for you. I'm assuming you've watched all 380 something episodes of this series, because we are going to be going over a memoriam and momentous compilation of just about everything since day one, is what I would say if I had any sort of effort to do so. But I am going away. This little vinyl patch sort of logo on my shirt might indicate where I'm going into the Army. As I film this, it is the 10th, but I do ship out Sunday morning, which is the 14th, so I've got a few days to pack and get my affairs in, a last minute order. My dad kind of spoiled it a little bit a few dozen diatribes ago, but nobody really watches these, so at first I was worried that my friends might discover it, but it's really just not that big a deal. This channel is still kind of hovering in between 10 and 20 subscribers or something like that, so I'm not exactly expecting anyone to gossip too much. But yeah, I'm going into the military because I really just need the free school tuition. I could probably go through financial aid and all that jazz, but I really do feel like it is time. I'm getting older. I'm 23. I just don't really have any sort of direction in order to accomplish my goals. I mean, I really do want to be an international lawyer and one day a diplomat, but I just don't see that happening unless I get cracking on really getting on that path and gaining the experience. And I think that as a religious affairs specialist, which is my MOS, that will really make me stand out against other candidates that I might come across in the future. Veterans preference, VA loans, discounts at Lowe's. Yeah, the list goes on of things that I'll be gaining from it. But ultimately, I feel like, I've been living here with Dad at this age. I had a girlfriend. We kind of, things just, went from 0 to 100. I tried all these different jobs. Nothing really stood out to the point where I could see myself staying there for years and years and years. I did work for the States. I worked for Instacart. I did merchandising for a few different companies. I did the census during 2020, and it was a really easy job, and it did pay a lot. So I figure, going back to work for the federal government, this time for the DOD, Department of Defense, I think would definitely give me that sort of boost in just income and, resources that'll finally put me on the straight and narrow to accomplish what I want to do. There's really not much to it. So I feel like a lot of people might think this is a very unconventional time to be going in. It's always going to be an unconventional time. I mean, name one time in the last 30 years when it's not been a risky time to be to essentially be putting your life on the line for your nation. I'll wait. We had the Gulf War, the War on Terror, the last dragon tail of the Cold War, and other than that, I feel like there's been bombings in Yemen and trouble in Iraq and crises at the border, to the point where I don't think that there's ever just going to be a perfect time anymore. I mean, maybe, I could tell myself, okay, if I ever invent a time machine, go back in time and tell my 18-year-old self to just go in because it'll be fine. That might have been a small a small shallow area between 2017 and 2020 when the military was just kind of having an off time. But I don't have a time machine, so I can't really do that. All I can do now is just go in and hope for the best. I might end up in some, turned into ashes in some fire pit on the Russian border, or I might end up in a shallow grave on the Mexican border, or I might just end up having a heart attack on my first day of basic training. Who knows? I got a 75 on my ASVAB. I passed through the physical with flying colors. Since I did go to college before this, I will be a private first class, which will basically put me on the, within spitting distance of becoming a corporal in 18 months, which would be a lot of money. I think I'd be able to send some home to dad. I'd be able to save up for a home, have plenty to put towards my education. I don't really know which kind of outlet I want to use in order to get my law degree, but I'm sure the options will be there. Yeah, that's the plan. I am a little bit worried about the cats. I have two cats, Brutus and Sophie. They're a Russian Blue and a Tabby, and they've been part of the family since around 2011 and 2013. No, backwards. 2000. Well, yeah, but backwards. Brutus we got in 2013. Sophie 2011 or 12, something like that. But a long time, over 10 years easily. They're very good cats. Maybe I can go to a pet-friendly base and bring them with me. I personally like to prepare for the worst-case scenario, even though I do stress positivism a lot. If I do have to leave them here, then of course I'll just have to pay for their cat food. And worst comes to worst, I guess I have to give them up to a shelter. But I just don't really think that it's worth it to keep them both around if I have to sacrifice my future because well, they're cats, and even though I love them a lot, it's just, one of those things where if I can't take care of them and they can't be taken care of, then I can't just keep, working jobs that I don't really feel like are contributing to my future in exchange for having pets. If anything, I feel like that's kind of doing a disservice to them because I won't be able to love them as much as if I were able to love myself. Simple as that. And it's unfortunate, but it's honest. And I don't really like lying to people, so that's the truth. I just don't know if I can love them as much as I'll be able to love myself for succeeding in life. Do I think that World War II is imminent? I used to, but I just don't think that war is profitable enough for countries to want to do it. U.S. is the number one manufacturer of airplanes, or at least, fighter airplanes, planes made for combat in the world. And I feel like just wasting all those planes to drop bombs into other people's backyards. No. Even though that's what they're made for, I just don't really see that playing out the way that the heads of these departments see it. It might just be the easiest thing ever. I don't know. It might be the most gruesome thing ever for me to go through basic. I saw not too long ago the Navy has this new digital media ambassador who from my research, it looks like they're a contractor meant to do a job, and they're not actually. There's a difference between an active duty soldier and a soldier who's contracted. Now you can be an active duty soldier and you're just going to your 9 to 5 every single day, and you're actually talking with a commanding general or sergeant or whatever. I got to learn all the terminology. And a contracted soldier who is ultimately kind of just like a third party, except they wear a military uniform and they do report to personnel, but not like a yes or no sort of, like camaraderie. Like you're not in the same company, because I do consider the military a company. United States Military Incorporated, or United States Department of Defense Incorporated. You get the idea. It's all for money. You pay people to do a job. There's no you don't swear your hand on the American Constitution like you do a Bible. There's no there's nothing out there that says that once you work for the federal government, that's your only identity. It's all just contracted out like businesses do. So, do I think that it's going to be difficult? Well, I don't know. I I really am just not that excited. I mean, I thought, being a chaplain's assistant slash bodyguard would be really, um, it would just, make me very jovial or like, somewhat enthusiastic to just see where, or to just, it's like I want to know what I'm doing, but I just don't really, I don't know. After like basic training in AIT and maybe a solid month or two in my actual job, it might just become just a regular old job where I shuffle files and type away on a computer and check emails. That's totally a realistic possibility in my opinion. I didn't choose tank commander or radio operator or nuclear materials handler or whatever. I looked at multiple jobs. I chose this one because I do feel like being a religious affairs specialist, all my life I've really just liked understanding what makes people the way they are. Their stories, their attitudes, their home life, their lifestyles. Maybe it's just because I like to learn from other people's mistakes, or I like to feel better about my own life, seeing how other people are miserable or being ostracized by their families or communities or battalions. But it's either way, I think it's the most merciful job a Buddhist like me can have. And isn't that what really matters? Just choosing the job where you feel like you would fit in the best and not feel bad for it after. We're feeding the war machine and I'm accepting taxpayer money raised by all the blue collars and white collars, in exchange for doing something that I don't really have any sort of choice in. If the generals say jump, we say, sir, yes, sir. We don't ask questions, we just do it. Um, yeah, my voice is getting a little tired. It's been a long few days. We actually just got back from Oregon, Plymouth Falls. It's actually a pretty cool town. And just sitting around watching TV, trying to fix my printer. It just is my luck that, when I ship out and Dad's going to be able to use my laptop and printer for a while, that it breaks. So I got ink all over my hands. But yeah, got a couple more days to just unwind and pack and play video games, or you know, say bye bye to friends and stuff. Um, Not having to work, it feels good. My last day at both my jobs was Friday, and it's Wednesday. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll try to come back to this and film, a few videos, or maybe I can film videos on my phone while I'm away, or my laptop. Of course, that'll come. I'll be able to have that, after my individualized or my advanced individual training, and just keep the show going. I don't really fancy doing these as much as Dad, I think. Sorry, I kicked the table. Maybe it's just because I don't really feel like a lot of people are going to watch these, and even if they do, they won't truly be able to understand the message. And those few people who do just enjoy watching whatever he has cooking up. He's got some more sterner subjects, I think, than me. He does more research, or he just has more controversial ideas on what people should be hearing. Whereas all my diatribes really are just kind of rants and oohs and ums and ahs and nothing burgers. So yeah, we'll see. This was kind of fun though. There is something kind of special about just talking into a camera about whatever's on your mind. I do think that if World War III does happen, or any combat scenario I find myself in, if I live or if I die, at the end of the day, it really is just a life, and that I could walk out that door right now and go down the highway and accidentally slip and trip into traffic and get killed right then and there. You really just don't. Me going into the military, I think in no way lowers my chances of having a long, fulfilling life any more than just living your life does. It's just your circumstance and unfortunately your karma. Things that you don't really have that much control over unless you're kind of a curmudgeon that doesn't like going outside your comfort zone and valuing anything outside, well, valuing anything outside what matters to you, and thinking about other things. I think that's the key right there, is to live your life in a way where even if you do die, you'll have gone knowing that you did what you could, to provide the values that you wanted and that you were able to. So this is what I'm able to provide. I might just be another cog in the great machine of the Department of Defense. I might hate it. I might want to do 20 years. I might not make it through basic training, because I think like 30% people don't make it through. So this might be my last one for a while. I encourage everyone to stay positive. I encourage you to try to recycle. Try to not use your mobile devices so much. Really focus on what matters in life. And above all, understand that suffering is a choice and that you can choose a better path. I'm trying to do so right now. Maybe that makes me arrogant for just being so bluntly optimistic, but who cares? It's my life. Who's going to tell me not to? We don't have that many viewers. So, thanks for watching, and stay positive. And, I do hope that my family stays all right through all this. Even my extended family. But, my dad and my brother have been very supportive, and at the same time, well, extremely, just self-reflective on everything that's happened, since mom passed. So, thank you guys for doing so. This could have been a lot more stressful than it has been, but frankly, I'm glad that this is finally happening and I'm able to get on my path to succeed. So, thanks, bro, and thanks, Dad. I love you. Stay positive.